The blizzard had been raging for 3 days when Marcus Chen spotted the faint blue glow beneath the snowdrift. His modified ATV's thermal scanner picked up 2 rapidly cooling heat signatures, barely distinguishable from the frozen wasteland, of Kepler 442c's northern continent. He should have kept driving. Colony regulations were clear about unauthorized contact with indigenous species. But Marcus had never been one to follow rules when lives were at stake, a trait that had gotten him exiled to this frontier world in the first place. The beings he pulled from the snow were unlike anything in the xenobiology databases. Standing, nearly 7 feet tall despite their emaciated state, they possessed 4 arms, crystalline blue skin that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light, and large, multifaceted eyes that reflected his headlamp like prisms. Most remarkably, delicate wing-like appendages stretched from their shoulders, translucent membranes now torn and frostbitten. The sisters, for their identical features and protective positioning suggested familial bonds, were dying. Their core temperatures had dropped to levels that would kill most carbon-based life forms. Marcus made a decision that would change 3 lives forever. His homestead sat nestled in a geothermal valley, powered by underground steam vents that kept the habitat warm year-round. As he carried the unconscious aliens inside, their weight surprised him. They were far lighter than their height suggested, their bones hollow like earth birds. For days, Marcus nursed them back to health. He jury-rigged his medical bay's equipment to accommodate their unique physiology, learning through trial and error that they required a copper-based nutrient solution and specific light wavelengths for cellular regeneration. When fever racked their bodies, he stayed awake for 48 hours straight, monitoring their vital signs and adjusting treatments. The younger sister, whom he would later know as Zira, awakened first. Her reaction upon seeing Marcus was not fear, but something akin to wonder. She reached out with one of her 4 hands, touching his face with fingers that moved like liquid mercury. Through a combination of pictographs, mathematical concepts, and a translation program he'd been developing for mining surveys, Marcus began to communicate with them. Their names, he learned, were Zira and Linnea, members of the Vethani, a nomadic species that had been driven from their traditional migration routes by climate changes caused by their planet's binary star system. What Marcus discovered next challenged everything the colonial authority believed about Kepler 442c. The Vethani weren't primitive natives. They were refugees from a technologically advanced civilization that had once spanned multiple continents. The storms that had been plaguing human settlements weren't natural phenomena. They were the death throes of massive atmospheric processors that the Vethani had built centuries ago to terraform their world. As the sisters recovered, Marcus found himself drawn into their world. Linnea, the elder, possessed an intricate knowledge of quantum mechanics that put human physicists to shame. She showed him how their people had manipulated subatomic particles to create weather patterns, essentially engineering their planet's entire ecosystem. Zira, meanwhile, revealed herself to be what humans might call an artist, but her medium was light itself. She could manipulate photons with her bare hands, creating displays of such beauty that Marcus often found himself weeping without understanding why. The Vethani had a concept called soul bonding, a practice where individuals who saved each other's lives became forever intertwined, sharing not just resources but destinies. In their culture, Marcus had not merely rescued 2 individuals. He had accepted responsibility for their entire bloodline. When they called him husband in their melodic language, a term that encompassed protector, provider, and partner, Marcus initially tried to explain human marriage customs. But as weeks turned to months, he began to understand that their bond transcended human concepts of relationships. The colonial authority eventually came looking for him. Long-range sensors had detected unauthorized energy signatures from his homestead. When Governor Walsh and her security team arrived, they found something unprecedented, a human living in harmony with highly advanced alien refugees, sharing technology that could revolutionize human civilization. Marcus stood between the colonial forces and his adopted family, knowing that the authority would classify the Vithani as either resources to be exploited or threats to be eliminated. But he had underestimated both his alien partners and the power of their bond. Linnea stepped forward, her crystalline skin now glowing with accumulated energy. In perfect English, learned through neural interface technology that made human computers look like stone tools. She addressed the governor. "Your people have been fighting this world instead of understanding it," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in everyone's bones. "You see storms where we see sculptures. You see wasteland where we see possibility." Zira joined her sister, raising her 4 arms to create a light display that showed the planet's true potential. Images of floating cities, of weather patterns shaped to support both human and Vithani populations, of technology that could turn this harsh world into a paradise. "Marcus saved more than our lives," Zira continued. "He saved our future. Our children will know both our songs and his stories. They will bridge species, as he has bridged worlds." Governor Walsh faced a choice that would define humanity's role in this corner of the galaxy. She could follow protocol, arrest Marcus, and try to contain or control the Vithani. Or she could recognize that sometimes the greatest diplomatic breakthroughs come not from governments, but from individuals willing to risk everything for others. The report she filed 3 days later would become legendary in colonial archives. First contact successfully established through humanitarian intervention by citizen Marcus Chen. Recommend immediate elevation to special envoy status and formal recognition of the Chen-Vithani alliance. In his warm home, surrounded by alien technology and impossible love, Marcus Chen had accidentally become humanity's greatest ambassador. The desperate sisters he'd pulled from a snowdrift hadn't just called him husband. They'd made him the bridge between worlds. And in the growing light of Kepler 442c's twin suns, 3 very different beings planned a future that neither species could have imagined alone.